Yeah, what's going on YouTube? So what exactly is the Safe Negro? I hate to use the term Safe Negro, but it's one that everybody's heard before. For me, it's not about the person that may use vocabulary or talk in a manner that sounds white. It's not even, the person that dresses in a certain way. It's more so about what you talk about and how you combat some of the negative stereotypes of black people, right? When you're around a setting where the majority of people are not black. Let me say that again. The Safe Negro is one that refuses to shed his own viewpoint, right, on an issue pertaining to black people, right, in an environment where the majority of people are not black. And like I said before, it doesn't matter how they speak or how they dress. That's really irrelevant. Let me give an example. When I started my teaching credential program, one of the first classes that we had to take was, a diversity class. And of course, whenever you talk about diversity, you're going to talk about, gays and lesbians. Now, I had enrolled in the class late. I missed the first 3 class meetings, and I think from the word go, they kind of had an ongoing discussion about the gay rights movement, and a couple of people had already equated it to civil rights. Now, when I entered the class, another conversation came up, and I was just like, wow, I can't believe what's going on. So I was able to talk to another black person in the class. I'm not going to say their gender, but we spoke, and I asked, have you guys been talking about this before? Yeah, and this student, this fellow black student, made it clear that they were, and that it was kind of upsetting because they were trying to equate two unlike things. Now, I would deem that person the quote-unquote safe Negro because they didn't speak up and put their own input into the conversation. So the conversation came up, and I, of course, raised my hand, and I went on to talk about how they are not the same, and you can't really try to force support from blacks simply by saying that it's like the civil rights movement, because it's not. The goals are completely different. The rationale behind the two are completely different. And of course there was some controversy, nothing, harmful, but it opened up a classroom debate, and a lot of people respected the conversation because everybody got to weigh in. And it was actually one of the more beneficial and entertaining classes that I've ever been in. And for me, right, that's how you remove the whole idea of being the safe Negro. Like, it's funny because it doesn't matter if we sit in a room filled with other black people and we talk about black issues, but when we get in an environment where everybody else is not black, right, we shut down and we don't want to, advocate or share our feelings, right? Because people will just assume that you don't have anything to say, or that you're okay with the status quo if you choose not to speak up, right? And I feel like most blacks are scared and intimidated if put in that position, right? That's my biggest knock against the quote-unquote professional black men and black women. How many of us want to be the ones to play it safe? How many of us have been in conversations or conferences where misinformation or degrading information about black people have come out, but no one says anything? As a teacher, I hear it all the time, right? I'm in the staff lounge, and I'll see certain teachers go off on certain students, and unfortunately, you have to deal with it. But there are cases where you have to let a teacher know, do you understand this student's background? Do you understand that they are a foster child? Right? Do you understand that he's constantly being chased home? Do you understand that he's in an environment with heavy drug and gang activity? Right? You can't do this all the time, but sometimes enough is enough. And that's how you remove the title of being the Safe Negro. Right? You have to advocate your views. You have to put your thoughts and feelings into the pot. Because half the time, right, as blacks in America, we get a bad rap because people don't know what else to think. Right? By us being quiet, we're not helping. All we're doing is saying that the status quo is correct. So we're always communicating. But if you don't challenge people and throw out new reasonings and explanations, nothing's ever going to happen. So we really have to get it together and stop acting as if the Safe Negro is the one that speaks a certain way, speaks properly, and dresses a certain way. Like, no, that's not what it is. It's one that refuses to be an advocate for the good in the black community, or misinformed people, right, who are not black. Right? That's the Safe Negro. And that's the problem. Because they're at a point where they can, how can I put this, create an atmosphere where change can actually happen, and where people are forced to incorporate new information about black people. Right? They're forced to have to think about what you said, instead of going off with their status quo and going off with their everyday life. So for me, I really think about how many opportunities we miss. Right? Because we think we're the proactive black men and women because we have, fancy degrees and fancy jobs. Yet our mouths are shut when people are making absurd comments about black people. We don't say, we probably join in. That's being safe. And if you fall in that category, your accomplishments don't mean shit to me. Right? There's no point in trying to achieve some sort of power or status, and when you get there, you don't use it to try to change people's perceptions, or not even change. Just add new reasoning to the pot. Challenge the status quo. Right? It means nothing if you don't do that. It means nothing if you get fearful. Don't give me the whole, I want to keep my job. I'm not saying being disrespectful. Of course not. But there is a time and a place to share how you feel and be open and be honest. And to be real, people will respect you for it. And to me, that's all that matters. My coworkers, my employers, they don't have to like me, but they will respect me because I have certain views. It goes a long way. More of us should try to do it. Don't worry about who likes you or who's good favorite. Trust me. You'd rather have people respect you than like you. You can respect your enemy. You can respect your friend. Respect to me is universal. And you get that by opening up your mouth, right, and advocating for your side. So you guys tell me how you feel. Take it easy. God bless.